Meeting to order at 7:37 and ask you to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pardon the noise. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Pleasure of the committee.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Denon, second by Mr. Salvatore. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Those opposed? And the ayes have it. Next item is the consent agenda, approval of minutes, regular meeting 4/14, and executive session 4/14/2016. Pleasure of the
Madam
committee.
Chair?
Yes.
I will be recusing myself from the vote. I was not here for that meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Fiorillo.
Do we have the minutes, the executive session minutes, the red folder?
Mr. Mitchell, do you know if we have a folder of the executive session minutes?
Yes, I do, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Did you want to read the minutes before we approve them?
No, I wrote the minutes. I just
I'm
wanted to make sure
aware
everyone
of
else-
that.
I wanted to make sure everyone else could read them.
Okay.
I've read them.
Are we ready to vote, or do others, does someone need to see the minutes before we approve them? No. Okay. Pleasure of the committee on the consent agenda.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Motion by Mr. Salvatore. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Denon, the author of the minutes.
that
Any
okay?
any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? And that carries 5. Are you voting, Mrs. Teal? So there were 2, so 5-0. Next item on the agenda is recognitions. Mr. Mitchell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to mention a couple of things. First of all, I emailed all of you today just to let you all know that Jay Masterson has been recognized as the 2016 Secondary Principal of the Year. So that is 2 years in a row for us. And given the fact that Nydia Carbonic was a recent elementary Principal of the Year, we have several Principals of the Year working in our schools, which is a wonderful thing. So we had a really nice ceremony at McCourt Middle School today. Mr. Fiorillo played a key role in getting Dr. Masterson out of the building. They did a walk on the trail behind the school so that we could surprise him, and it was a surprise, and it really was a lovely event. And he had several family members there, his wife and son, his mom and dad, and his grandmother and grandfather, and his mother-in-law were there. So his family took up half the auditorium. So it was, it was really, really, really nice, short and sweet. And several members of the central office were in attendance as well. I just wanted everyone to know that I've had an opportunity to observe this RAD training that we have. As you recall, that Rape Aggression Defense program that has been organized by Kevin Kolick. Several Cumberland police officers are involved in that training, and I believe that there are around 15 girls who are participating in this certification course. So I know that they've already had at least 2 sessions, and I think there are a few more planned. So it's really nice to see the interest, and again, the fact that this was organized and requested by one of our students is a wonderful thing. The only other thing that I wanted to mention, Madam Chair, was the fact that senior presentations were yesterday, and they were impressive. I was in one of the rooms and had an opportunity to hear 6 senior presentations. 4 of the students are National Honor Society students, and to suggest that they were impressive would be an understatement. And the same is true for the other 2 students. And it is really, to me, impressive how well students are able to articulate in detail some of the major learning that impacted their lives. So it was really good. And you know, one of the things that I think we should consider moving forward, and I shared this with Mr. Tonrero, Jesse Butash, and Adolfo Costa, that wouldn't it be wonderful if parents could see their sons and daughters talk about their high school experience? And, you know, we allowed that to happen at Charahoe High School when I was the principal, and parents are so touched, they get emotional when they see it. And just, I don't want to minimize any of the presentations that I saw because they were impressive, all of them. And but Josh Broder was the shortstop of the baseball team. His parents are both teachers in the district. To hear him talk about how his mom has influenced his life, she had an opportunity to hear him, or if she had an opportunity to hear him present, she would have been touched by that. So I think that's one of the things that we're going to consider moving forward. But it was really impressive, and to hear students talk about how hard they've worked. So there was some common language that I took note of, and I want to share it with them when I have opportunities to speak with the senior class as we have all of these year-end activities. But it really was a wonderful day, incredibly well organized by the high school administration with the support of many, many teachers. It was a really nice day, really nice. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Did anyone else participate in that today? No. Yeah, it's fantastic, and in addition to that, the senior oratorical, I think, occurred yesterday or today, which is another wonderful opportunity to hear such a wide array of experiences, not so much about their academic program, but some pretty touching things that have occurred to them in their lives. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was, Mr. Damana and I had a chance to hear several of the speeches. And what happens is students are given an opportunity to volunteer, imagine, to speak in front of hundreds of students. And I believe they choose 10 seniors of all the students that volunteer to speak. They select 10, and these 10 students do their speeches in front of the freshman and sophomore classes. So and they do it in the Wellness Center. So the place was packed, and each student spent at least 5 or more minutes doing their speeches. So it took a good hour or more to get them all done, and you could hear a pin drop. And some of the stories that you hear from these students and some of the challenges that they've overcome in their lives, really, really touching. And I think a testament to how good these speeches were was how respectful and attentive the audience was.
Thank you again. Moving on, next item, Chairperson's Report. So we had a school-town collaboration. I would say tonight was a little bit of a collaboration of sorts, where we hosted the governor here at the high school. The mayor and superintendent had invited the governor and the commissioner of education to come and have a panel opportunity to have the community ask some questions, which I think we all did get a chance to do that and make some remarks. So very nicely done, and I do hope she comes back to talk with us some more. All right, moving on. Next item, reports of standing committees. Payment of bills, Mr. Demotica.
I'm sure there were no payment of bills this time.
All right.
And fiscal subcommittee did meet tonight at 7 o'clock. The business manager went over the monthly report. Right now, we have a shortfall of about $538,000, but that does include a $400,000 for the fund balance we're trying to move over till next year. Just a couple of highlights is health claims have gone up from $733,000 now to $774,000 that we have right now. Currently, we have a projected surplus with paying the $774,000 of $335,000, but we have some items that we've put in, that we've approved, such as buying the Chromebooks and the science kits, et cetera, in this year's budget. So this is where we stand as of right now.
Thank you. Next item, Policy and Procedure Subcommittee update. Mr. Fiorello.
Yes, policy did meet on Tuesday night. That's very loud. We had a couple of policies in front of us. We had an amended policy for I-6, school-sponsored overnight field trips. We are just talking about some new language in that, which was tabled. It's going to come up later for a reading, which we won't be doing. And also a new policy of I-10, which is an extracurricular school-sponsored overnight field trip. What we've done is try to separate the two different groups that would be traveling overnight and create separate policies since they have different nuances, mostly around chaperones and issues like that. That is still a policy in the works, which was also tabled, I'm sorry. So that was also tabled, so there won't be any reading of that as well later on. We also had a brief discussion regarding school suspension, mostly about the appeal process. We had some good input from the principals that were present, Dr. Masterson, as well as Alan Tenrero, and Mr. Mitchell had his view from it. We are going to probably bring that up before the committee for an actual amendment or policy change. Sometime in the future, I'm not really sure when, whether it's 2 weeks from now or a month from now. So that's it.
Thank you. And if the committee wouldn't mind, I wouldn't mind having the student activities update. I don't see it here on the agenda, but we do have a representative from from the high school to provide us with an update. Come on up and you can take the offering right there.
For a solo.
I do apologize. My partner actually had the student government agenda, but he hasn't showed up, so I shall speak extemporaneously. But based off of my knowledge, we had the blood drive on April 14th, spring fling, and we're going to have the 5K run tomorrow on Friday, which will replace the last 2 class periods. Teacher Appreciation Week is also coming up. Most importantly, junior and senior prom, and the class elections.
What was your name?
Max Bonici.
And Max is a 9th grader. And we can see, Mr. Mitchell, how Cumberland High School students evolve in their presentation skills. He's got it spot on. Good 6 or 8 months here at CHS. Nice work. All right, so let's move back to the standing committees, and we have Achievement and Communications Subcommittee. Mrs. Teal.
Hi. Achievement and Communications met on Tuesday, very briefly. We had a bit of a recap of the findings we had after interviewing or listening to the presentations from all of the schools, and began a discussion of some pathways that we might consider expanding upon in the Cumberland High School. Thank you. And we'll be meeting again probably in 2 weeks before the next scheduled, the Tuesday before the next scheduled school committee meeting.
Thank you. And the Budget Task Force update, I think there's no update at this point. Would you mind reaching out to them again? I don't think we've had the presentation submitted to the committee, so maybe you have it or they have it, but if you can get that to Cindy to circulate to us, Mr. Duffy.
You're looking for them to make the presentation, or you're looking for the physical presentation to put on the site?
So the
Yes
second
and
part,
yes?
yes. And then I think if the committee would like, we can certainly have them come back and sit with us. Something a little bit more workshop-y style, maybe at the front end of a school committee meeting?
I'll reach out to them and I'll give them the next couple of school committee dates. If I give them the next 2, is that good?
That works.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. And then we'll add one item, that we have Health and Wellness Subcommittee update with Mr. Salvatore.
Yes, would you like me to take care of that right now, Madam Chair?
Is there something further on the agenda?
No, usually we put it in
I think this works, if you don't mind.
No problem at all. So we met. Wanted to share with you, Madam Chair, in the committee, I sent an email earlier. Did everybody get that? This is something that was brought to our attention. The New England Dairy and Food Council has extended an invitation to all students in Rhode Island
for 5th and 8th grade, and they're eligible, one submission per student. They have to draw a picture, take a picture, educational poster, write a poem, and a short writing piece. And I failed, I don't have an example of it, but we do have a couple students that did submit some drawings on it. Well, the deadline was tomorrow. They extended it to next week. So here's what's fascinating about it, is first prize is, again, I apologize, I just pulled this up. Here we go. First prize is a dairy farm visit for that grade that won. Okay, so you go to a dairy farm and they go through milking of the cows. The second prize is a cow visits your school.
Oh.
All right, so I personally would like to see the second place. I'd like to see that cow come to the school because Mr. Denon had showed some interest on milking that cow. But I'm just kidding. Third prize is a dairy party pack. So, you know, milk and everything focused around ice cream and
That's against health and
against. And I'm sure Mr. Mitchell could make a,
It's
you know.
healthy, it's healthy.
But again, this is something that's building awareness for health and wellness. So we just circulated an email yesterday to the principals eligible for 5th to 8th grade to try to win this. I think it'd be exciting for the kids, and I think it's educational with health and wellness. The second part that I have on this update is that Corinne from the Rhode Island Healthy Schools Coalition, the state of Rhode Island, she helped bring to us a program called Playworks. If you're not familiar with Playworks, I'm going to read just a little synopsis on it. Playworks is an Oakland-based national nonprofit that supports learning and physical health by providing safe and exclusive play to students. Playworks works with schools to design a curriculum and activities that offer play opportunities during recess, lunch, after-school programs. Its trained coaches work in schools to run a variety of games and sports. So what we did was it's train the trainer. So Playworks, this is actually funded by Blue Cross Blue Shield. So this was no cost to Cumberland. And we have 2 schools that participated, Ashton and JJM, and they trained teachers and physical education teachers there. And they incorporate physical activity, fun games. It's a special, you know, curriculum that they have and that the kids love. So we've had a lot of positive updates and impact on the kids, and the 2 principals was at our meeting, and they gave us an update on this. So again, it's Blue Cross Blue Shield. We're going to extend it out to community and any other school that's interested in it. So it's just a way to help them become aware of health and wellness and incorporate some activity. And I believe that is it, Madam Chair. Let me just, oh, I'm sorry, 2 more things. Tomorrow at the high school here is a 5K. It starts at 11:15. It's being run by Colin, who is our physical education teacher at the high school. Everybody here is invited to come. The 5K is actually taking place on the school town property here. So we don't need policemen or risk of anybody getting hit by a car. It's on the school grounds. This is the 3rd year that they're running the event, and it's to benefit spinal muscular atrophy this Friday at 11 o'clock. So anybody who's around can attend this event. I don't know, Mr. Mitchell, you want to?
Mr. Salvatore, if I may,
Yes.
that is a run-walk event.
Oh, yeah, I apologize. Yes, it's a run, walk at your own pace.
We don't want to be
type of
scaring
event.
anybody off,
We
Mr.
don't.
Salvatore.
Mr. D'Amato was getting a little nervous over there. I was saying that. And I believe that's it, Madam Chair, for the update. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Salvatore. So what's your bib number for the 5K tomorrow, so we can track you?
I'm going to smile and wave,
All
Madam Chair.
right, you'd be the water boy?
The water boy.
All right. Next item is comments from the public. Anyone this evening? No? They all talked out after the governor. All right, moving on. Policy, public hearing for policies. I-6, school-sponsored overnight field trips, and I-10, extracurricular sponsored overnight field trip. Mr. Fiorello, I'll turn that over to you. All right. So those are tabled. There will be no public hearing. And moving on, we have discussion and or vote to approve amended policy. So that's not, there's no action on A, no action on B because they were tabled. And what's next is discussion and or vote to approve resolution SCR 2013-03, district unassigned fund allocation. Mr. DeMonica.
Madam Chair, this was heard in fiscal. This is a annual thing that the school committee does. It's a GASB 54 rule. And if we want to spend unassigned money this year for next year, we have to assign it this year. So we heard from the business manager, and we voted 3-0 to approve the resolution.
Okay, Mr. DeMonica moves passage of SCR 2016-03. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Denon. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Mr. DeMonica. And then next item is 2016 Rhode Island Kids Count Fact Book, Findings for Cumberland. Mr. Mitchell, is that something we need some highlights on?
Yes, Madam Chair, I just wanted to share some information very quickly with all of you. Actually, I think Cindy attached some information for you about, that is specific to Cumberland as compared to the rest of the state of Rhode Island. And let me just give you a quick summary of what Kids Count is all about. I'm sure you know about it, you've heard about it, and you may have even at one point in time used the information that Rhode Island Kids Count provides. But the 2016 Rhode Island Kids Count Fact Book is the 22nd annual profile of the well-being of children in Rhode Island. The annual fact book is an important tool for planning and action by community leaders, policymakers, advocates, and others working toward changes that will improve the quality of life for all children. So this fact book, which is accessible online, by the way, provides a wealth of helpful data. And I just thought that, since we're going to be doing strategic planning in the coming months, that this information may be helpful to us as we begin that planning process. And to give you just a quick example, and there were, as you can see from that fact sheet that I shared with all of you, there's some really, I think, eye-opening information there about what is happening in the state, but also what is happening specifically to the town of Cumberland. And I'm actually looking at the book right now, Madam Chair, and I'm looking at the indicator that is related specifically to poverty. And what is really helpful in this book, it gives the definition for each one of the categories that's on the sheet. And for poverty, it provides the definition of what poverty is, and that is children who live in poverty under the age of 18 in the state of Rhode Island, and also the significance of why this information is critically important. And so not only do they provide the definition, not only do they provide information as to why it's important for us to understand and know this information, but it also provides the source or sources of information where the information is generated. So I have had a chance to look at great length and detail at this fact book, and it really is impressive, and I think it really will be helpful to us as we begin this strategic planning process.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell.
Thank you.
Anyone have any questions about the fact book? No, I think it's useful, and in addition to that, it's available online, and you can drill down on a lot of the little target areas for the data. It's very, very handy, and it provides a good comparison tool as well. So, all right, next item, personnel recommendations. There are no recommendations this evening. Next item is school committee comments, school liaison reports. Anyone? You sure? Okay, thank you, Mr. Fiorello.
I just wanted to mention that prior to just the last meeting, I had the pleasure of attending the hockey banquet along with Mr. DeMonica and Superintendent Mitchell. And the best part of that banquet is when the seniors from the hockey team speak, about their experience over the last few years of being in the hockey program, what their teammates have meant to them, the guidance and instruction that they've received from their coaches, and any other mentors that have been in their life. And it seems very similar to what Mr. Mitchell was speaking about, the senior presentations and the others. But it's a great event. It's only 3.5 hours. So, it's a good event if you want to come out next year.
Well, they feed you.
Anyone else?
I have something.
Mr. Denon?
I just wanted to share that, Community School hosted the Destination Imagination a couple weeks ago, and one of our principal, Mrs. Giroux, received an award that day. She received the Spirit of DI Award. And here's what they said about her. They said, in her role as principal of community schools, Cindy has been a champion supporter of teams, team managers, parent volunteers, and Destination Imagination Rhode Island. Her encouragement and generosity have built a proud tradition of creativity and excellence in Cumberland. So it was great that she received it, and it's well-deserved.
What was it called, Spirit of the Eye?
Spirit of DI, Destination Imagination.
DI, Destination Imagination. And just a note, congrats to Dr. Masterson. As we heard tonight, that he was awarded Principal of the Year. It's well-deserved. We're very proud of him. We're very proud of our district. And I'm hoping he was surprised and glad to hear that students and family were all there to support him. All right, do we have executive session this evening, Mr.
Yes, we do,
Adams?
Madam Chair.
We will.
Hopefully, it'll be relatively quick.
Thank you. So I will need a vote to go into executive session for discussion of items referred to in Rhode Island General Law 42465. But before going into executive session, I shall state for the record that any persons to be discussed pursuant to this subsection have been notified, and the statement shall be noted in the minutes of the meeting. We have personnel matters, exception 1, CTA ICSI non-unit, negotiation litigation, exception 2, again, CTA ICSI non-unit, litigation update, potential litigation. Vote to seal the minutes of the executive session. Oh, sorry, we'll stop there. So I need a vote to go into executive session. Motion by Mr. Duffy, second by Mrs. Teal and Mr. Fiorello, or was that Mr. Salvatore? All those in favor? Those opposed? And it's 8:05, so we will conclude this portion of the meeting, and we will adjourn once we're finished with executive session. Thank you.